So Robert Mueller gave a statement about his time as special counsel. And if you watch Fox News, they're saying that it really didn't say anything.
Well, the fact remains there was no Trump-Russia collusion. There was no obstruction. Nothing has changed. Mueller spent 20-plus months, $25+ million investigating a hoax, and now for the fourth time we have a conclusion: no collusion, no conspiracy. Now, today he officially resigned from the office of special counsel.
And then if you watch MSNBC, they're saying that impeachment is necessary.
One day after Robert Mueller, in his own understated and restrained way, made it extremely clear that his report was essentially an impeachment referral to Congress, the infamously germophobic president expressed his utter disgust at the prospect of impeachment.
It's a lot. So let's try to figure this out together. Okay, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to let Robert Mueller answer those questions. Mr. Mueller, did the Russian government interfere with the 2016 U.S. elections?
Let me begin where the appointment order begins, and that is interference in the 2016 presidential election. As alleged by the grand jury in an indictment, Russian intelligence officers who were part of the Russian military launched a concerted attack on our political system. The indictment alleges that they used sophisticated cyber techniques to hack into computers and networks used by the Clinton campaign. They stole private information and then released that information through fake online and identities and through the organization WikiLeaks.
All right, let me ask this. Did the Trump campaign conspire with the Russian government? That's what everybody wants to know.
The first volume of the report details numerous efforts emanating from Russia to influence the election. This volume includes a discussion of the Trump campaign's response to this activity, as well as our conclusion that there was insufficient evidence to charge a broader conspiracy.
All right, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. There was no criminal conspiracy. I want to ask you, what about obstruction of justice?
The order appointing me special counsel authorized us to investigate actions that could obstruct the investigation. And we conducted that investigation, and we kept the office of the acting attorney general apprised of the progress of our work.
So, Mr. Mueller, I want to ask you point blank, are you saying the President of the United States did not commit a crime?
And as set forth in the report, after that investigation, if we had had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so.
If you can't say the president did not commit a crime, it leads me to believe, and I think a lot of the people, that you're saying the president did commit a crime. And if so, why haven't you charged him with committing a crime?
A president cannot be charged with a federal crime while he is in office. That is unconstitutional. Even if the charge is kept under seal and hidden from public view, that too is prohibited.
So if you can't charge the president with committing a crime, then why are you investigating him? It makes no sense. If I can't charge you with a crime, why am I investigating?
First, the opinion explicitly permits the investigation of a sitting president because it is important to preserve evidence while memories are fresh and documents available. Among other things, that evidence could be used if there were co-conspirators who could be charged now.
All right, so is there anything that the criminal justice system can do to hold the president accountable for crimes?
And second, the opinion says that the Constitution requires a process other than the criminal justice system to formally accuse a sitting president of wrongdoing.
Well, okay, so the criminal justice system can't do anything. So why don't you just accuse the president? Why don't you say, hey, here's the evidence. It's obvious the president committed a crime. Have at it.
And beyond department policy, we were guided by principles of fairness. It would be unfair to potentially accuse somebody of a crime when there can be no court resolution of the actual charge.
Fundamental fairness, huh? Fundamental fairness. So, Mr. Mueller, let me just make it very clear. Let's say you had evidence that the president committed treason with the Russian government. Let's say you had evidence that the president conspired with the Russian government to influence the election. Let's say you had evidence that the president took bribes and laundered money. Let's say you had evidence, overwhelming evidence, that he also did campaign finance violations. Those 5 huge things. You had overwhelming evidence. Could you charge the president of the United States, Donald Trump, with those federal crimes if you had overwhelming evidence?
Explains that under long-standing department policy, a president cannot be charged with a federal crime while he is in office. That is unconstitutional. Even if the charge is kept under seal and hidden from public view, that too is prohibited. The special counsel's office is part of the Department of Justice, and by regulation, it was bound by that department policy.
So Mueller's essentially saying 3 things. The first thing is the president is immune from prosecution based on the Constitution. Now, this means he's essentially above the law while serving as president, while in office. But after he leaves office, he could be held accountable for those crimes. So that leads to Mueller's second point, that because the president is immune from prosecution, can't be charged with a federal crime, then Mueller couldn't charge him with a federal crime. That would be violating Part 1. He's immune from prosecution, so why would I charge him with a federal crime? Makes sense. Then that leads to Mueller's third point, that because he could not charge the president with a federal crime, and he couldn't go to court and get a court resolution of that crime, then he's not going to accuse the president of committing any crime because it would be fundamentally unfair to the president. The president can't fight back. And the only thing Robert Mueller would be doing is just saying that he believed the president committed a crime, and no court would be able to hear that case. No court would be able to say, yes, the president committed a crime because he's immune from prosecution constitutionally. So if that happens to be the case, any allegation that Mueller would make would be vacuous at best. And that's it. So it leads you to believe, well, why even investigate? Well, as you said before, Mueller said, well, just really to keep things fresh. The people's memories, documents, the investigation, to find out what actually happened. And one day, the president may be held accountable when he becomes a private citizen. But while he's sitting as president, he is immune from prosecution and can't even be charged. It's improper to even accuse him. So any federal crimes that Donald Trump commits in office, he will not be prosecuted by the Justice Department for, because it's unconstitutional. And there are other constitutional remedies to hold the president accountable. You guessed it, impeachment. But that's a story for another day. So hopefully this gave you a clearer understanding of why Mueller's testimony, or why Mueller's words the other day, were so powerful. We are in a constitutional crisis. And what's going to happen? Is it okay that the president is above the law while he's serving as president? Or do we need to fix that? Should anybody be above the law? Because right now, the sitting president of the United States, if he's lucky enough to serve 2 terms, 8 years, for those 8 years, he's essentially immune from prosecution. I'll see you next time.